I'm joined by one of the fastest swimmers in triathlon, Richard Varga. Thank you for joining us, Richard.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm going to be picking Richard's brains to find out how, coming from a swimming background, he's actually had to adapt that to swimming in open water. So my first question, obviously, you came from a swimming background. How does swimming in a pool differ to swimming in open water?
It is actually very different because not every good or pool swimmers can swim very good open water. And the same is open water swimmers can't swim very good in a pool, so it's a little bit different sport. I'm trying in open water have a higher cadence, so I can because I'm not have a turns in a pool, so I'm not resting that much, so my stroke is not as powerful, so I'm using more slow twitch muscles for the open water, so that makes a big difference. And then also it's a bit different with the breathing rhythm.
And so going on to the cadence, what drills or tips can you give people that will help them improve their cadence?
So for me, it's really good to swim with the band and with the pool buoy. That I think that's naturally is helping you to have a higher cadence. Otherwise, you're going sink down. So that's, I think, my best for the open water in the pool exercise and drill.
And when you get into the open water and you're trying to go a higher cadence, how do you know if you are, and how do you make yourself do that higher cadence?
I think I just pick the rhythm and just feel it. Really be mindful how you feel. It's not about what's the number. For everyone is different number. I have really long arms. For some people is short arms, can do it even higher. For me, like, I'm the one of the slowest cadence in a triathlon. So, but that's the best for me. So everyone has to find their own cadence.
Do you measure your cadence, and do you know what it is?
Sometimes, but I'm not really measuring this. Yeah.
How many strokes and a length in a swimming pool do you swim?
I'm doing when I'm swimming fast between 12 and 14 on 25 meters pool. Yeah, but when I'm trying to go sometimes like more than 8, yeah.
You talked about breathing being different from a swimming pool to open water. How is it different, and how have you adapted to that?
Yeah, it's very important to sighting, otherwise you're gonna swim 100 meters more or sometimes 200 meters more or whatever, and you can lose the gap for the next feet, so it's very important. And yeah, we do sometimes training like every 4 stroke I look forward and try to point on some things on the pool, and that's what I'm doing like sometimes in a session, so I can really, when I'm going out of in the open water, so I get the same rhythm.
And what is your breathing? Is your breathing rate the same in a swimming pool as it is in the open water? How many strokes per breath?
Every second.
Always.
Yes, you need as much as possible the air.
And that's the same. Do you do every 2 in the pool, or did you change that?
In the hard sessions, yes, every 2, yes.
And before you were doing triathlon, you still did every 2. So that's not changed.
Not really changed. When I was kid, I was swimming like 3. Obviously, when you're doing 100 meters freestyle, you breathe as less as possible. But if you're doing 1500 meters race, you want as much as possible air.
And how do you train for the difference in feeling for your buoyancy? Because in the swimming pool, you're swimming in just your swimming trunks, and then open water, normally it's cold, you'll be swimming in a wetsuit. How did you find that change, and what have you done to help that change?
Yes, I'm trying to be as much have the variation. So I'm using like a pool buoy, sometimes without pool buoy, sometimes I using the parachute. So it's changing my position, but I'm still trying to hold strong core and to be as high as possible. So I stimulate the very different positions. So in a race, sometimes like as you said, in a swim wetsuit or in a sea, you have different buoyancy, so you have to be prepared and you have to feel it.
And another big difference, I would say, coming from a pool swim, you're used to having a lane to yourself in a race. You're in open water and there's people all around you. How did you get used to that? Admittedly, for you, there's more people behind you, but when at the start there's people around you, did you get used to that change?
Yeah, it's still sometimes struggle. It's something you never can really get used to it because the triathlon swimming is really contact. I think if I would do just open water swim, it's not as bad. So the triathlon, because they know how important is the first buoy, and it's really short, so everyone wants to be in the front. So I'm trying to be have as best as possible start, and then be on the front and swim my own race. If this not happened, I'm trying not panic, stay in some feet, and eventually get on the front.
And how have you practiced for that? What have you done? How's your training different to get used to doing that?
Yes, I asked the boys to draft me on my hips or on my legs, or beat me up from one side and another side. So
this is a good tip here. Yeah. Get your friends to beat you up.
Yeah, for 1 hour, and also you can get used to it.
This is in the pool. You practice swimming with people on your hips.
Yes. We sometimes do like 100 or 200 reps, where when one guy is in your hip, and then you switch off. So you're doing a couple of these, and one is resting, one is going hard. Yeah.
Because I think people often think, oh, we need to practice drafting on someone's hips, but actually you do in a race have them on your hips too. So I guess it's good to practice in both ways. And obviously the water temperature can vary so much in open water and swimming pool. We're lucky we have the same temperature. How did you get used to that change and adapting to swimming in different temperatures?
Yeah, so I'm trying once or twice a week go open water swimming, even in April or May, so I get used to the cold water as well. Or I swim sometimes in October here is quite cold. So if it's possible, I'm going outside as well, so used to the cold water.
You've come from the swimming background and you've suddenly had to get your body used to cycling and running. And I came from a swimming background as well originally, and I know that your joints are very flexible and it's hard for your legs to get used to it. How have you made that change? What have you had to do to be able to make your body strong enough to cycle and run?
Yeah, it's really hard work. I spent like last 15 years to work on the strength of my ankles and mobility and flexibility to be a little bit stronger. So I think the strength exercises in the gym that helps, but also just practice the swim, bike, run. Yeah.
Great. Well, Richard, thank you so much. Some great tips there that we're definitely going to take from it. So thanks.
Thank you very much for having me.
And hit the globe to subscribe to make sure you don't miss any other videos from GTN. And if you want to learn how to perfect your beach exit after an open water swim, that video is just here.
And if you want to see video about swimming in wetsuit or without wetsuit, click in here.